Check, 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 check. Looks like it's working. What's up, guys? How'd everybody do today? A little wild, whippy. But this 12-hour inside bar worked quite well. It was just a pain in the ass to get into, and I blew up an account, my New York account, which didn't have any money in it. Had a negative $100 balance, but I had like 1,800 in drawdown. Definitely shouldn't have blown it, but I was fairly confident this trade was going to work. I just over leveraged a bit. We zoom into like a 5 minute. It like triggered. It triggered, and then this move here was like 100 points, 170 points up. Triggered again, chopped around, another whatever, 230 points up, triggered again, and finally worked. And even when it worked, it kind of chopped around sideways. These candles are a little deceiving. They're 100-point candles. So I was messing around in this area, trying to get in. This little trigger, this choppiness. And when it finally worked, it worked well. So looking back in hindsight, I feel like I should have just traded a micro and, maybe waited for the retrigger. You don't know though. Sometimes they just trigger and go. So, but kept a much wider stop, like 100-point stop. Like like risked my daily loss limit on like 1 or 2 micros. And then when the trade started to work, add to it. Instead, I jumped in with 5, which was, a little intense, especially stopping out and trying to catch it again. So, lesson learned. I'll approach that differently. The market just was very frustrating this morning. But last night I did put 610 in each XFA. So I ended up with 1220 last night, which was a good thing. And I think I just need one more day in one of those accounts for a payout. So I did start a new combine on Top Step. I put 1,500 in that, so it's 50% past. And then my new Blue Sky account, I hit 1,800 profit target today. So I should be able to pass that by tomorrow. Probably wouldn't be trading tonight if I didn't just need this one more day. Well, we'll see. I'm just going to be kind of picky. We do have inside, if we pull up charts here, this little hammerish candle on the 30, but what interests me most is the inside 60, inside 4 hour. This should be the 4 hour. So inside 4 hour, inside 60, right? Here's the 60 over here. Inside 60. Uh-oh, what happened? There. And 4 hour over here. So I've got these marked up on my Top Step charts. And that's what I'm going to be looking to trade. Hopefully just catch a nice move quickly off the open, and then I'll hop off the stream, go about my day, request another payout, and have a early weekend. Probably will not trade tomorrow if I can put some money in accounts today, because Friday, usually I don't trade that well. It's options expiration. The market's been a little crazy. Sometimes it's choppy. We'll see. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Anybody taking any trades today? What's up, French? Let's see. G, AK. Ant, what's up? EJ, you did great today. That's awesome. AK started minus 500 from Asia, finished +2. Plus $2? That's better than being red, man. Much better than minus 500. Did break even, but that happens. I did fine break even. Yeah. Listen, on a day like today where things just, there was a lot of volatility, a lot of downside you could have traded. It was just really tricky. If you're on the wrong side of the trade and it went against you, they were not small candles. So, job number one is to protect profits, not hit daily loss limit, if you can help it, and certainly not hit max loss. So I didn't do a good job of that. I would have rather, taken a minus 300, minus $500 day instead of having to spend, $100 on two combines. The first one I blew, and then the second one I got 1,500 plus another just going to cost me 150 to activate if and when I pass. So always better to keep these funded accounts than blow them up. But it happens. I've done a much better job this year of protecting my funded accounts. Last year was a lot of me aggressively trading, trying to get rich quick. Just, start five combines, full port, blow them up, start five more, get 50%, that sort of thing. So I've kind of gotten away from that, which is good. That's not what I recommend. If I can pass one out of two and I can do it, relatively quickly, then that's what I'm trying to do. If it costs me $100 instead of 50, but I can get half of, I can get the account half passed in a day. That's an acceptable kind of expense, especially since the four that I had, I did lose two of them, but all four of them I passed all four, in 2 days. So I got four accounts for, $200 and then paid 600 to activate. And I have pulled 3,700 out of these funded accounts this month, and it's only the 10th. So doing good so far, trying to keep that going. And that just requires a lot of discipline and patience. And, last night was a little frustrating just the way the market was moving. I traded the 4 hour inside bar down. It's right here. Inside bar, broke bear. Didn't really get that, it doesn't look like that big of a move, but it was 150 points. It was enough for me to make, $600 on, I think I was in, I'm going to say 3 or 5 micros. So I wish I had been a little more aggressive adding to that position because this triggered, it kind of started working and then it bounced right back up and back tested the trigger and gave a really good opportunity to add. But I had been sitting here so long waiting for this setup to trigger and it was kind of chopping around that I got in my head a bit and I didn't want to, kind of move my average price down. But in hindsight, the smart thing to do would, been I would have liked to have had like 6, 9, 12 micros because then I would have been a $2,000 day, times two XFAs. So, but it is what it is. Anytime I walk away green and I, can make $1,200 in an hour or two, I'm gonna take it. It's the one thing I've done differently lately is just try not to swing for the fences. It's hard when I see other people posting big gains on social media and funded chat, but I try not to compare myself, right? 1,200 times 5 days a week, 6 grand times 4 weeks. So that's 24 grand a month if you're trading perfectly. And I would expect to have some red days, but you can look at my stats here on my primary account. I'm doing pretty well. I've had one losing day. Again, Friday, just always my worst day. And put 6150, 6,150 into this account. So even 3 grand a day or 3 grand a week is 12 grand a month. That's a nice payday, times two XFAs currently. So, say I'm like, I only put up 600 or I only put up 500 or 300 or whatever. But when I look at it on a weekly basis, I'm kind of averaging right now 3 grand. That's solid, right? I will start to scale up as time goes on and I'm more consistent with my trading, which I have been. I'm just not ready to, get to it. I'm just sticking with what works, what's working for me now. This is working. I don't want to switch it up a bit. I am. That's just what I'm going to do. I've got a minute and a half till open. Not even going to bother looking at any other tickers. If NQ, this is I'm just focused on this NQ inside hour, inside 4 hour. That's about it. If NQ is just not it's kind of stuck for a while, I will maybe take a peek at metals, but probably not. And I think I'm pretty ready to go here. So 50 seconds. The Unreal, what was your trigger? Trigger on what? Option Z Gen says I was done by 9:45. Love not having to partake in the shit PA today. Yeah, I debated not even trading. I was around for New York pre-market. Didn't really see anything I liked. There was news that kind of was a little weird. It kind of ramped up and then dumped and chopped around sideways for a bit. I was debating, I still haven't slept. I've been talking about taking a nap since, I don't know, 10 or 11 this morning, and I haven't. I did try and lay down for an hour or two before this live stream started and wasn't able to do it. That's a big old candle. Come on, pull back to this 30, man. I'm tempted to just hop in, but I know that's a bad idea. I'm just gonna wait a second. The market's been open all of 40 seconds, right? Still inside 60. 30-minute did trigger to the upside, but plenty of time to make a decision about what to do. Like maybe right now, where we're at the trigger, take a shot at it. Oops, and I need to change this to points. Sticking with small size, it's been working for me. I will, add a bit aggressively, but even last night, catching, 100 points on 3 micros is 600. So don't need a whole lot. And I'm just not, it's I traded more than I should have earlier, and I got smacked in the face for it. So like if this doesn't work, I'll stop out and take the $30, $34. Like it's not a big deal. Just wait and see what they do here. Maybe the 60 breaks to the downside. Yeah, I mean, if I was trading like a mini right now, that stop out would have been $300 instead of $34. It would have been $340. Hold on one second, guys. Got this answering thing on the phone is talking to me. Oh, do I want to try this again? Let's try it. If I stop out again, I'm gonna wait for the 60 to set up, because this might just be a little back test a VWAP and then continue to the downside. But for a small amount of risk, it's worth taking a crack at it. Let me quickly update my daily open line here. So daily open is 18464, 46475. So green on the day, green on the week, green on the 60. Short-term continuity to the upside. Check in with chat in a sec. Just let me manage this trade for a minute. The other thing I've been doing is using this tick chart, but on this left panel, typically, I'll go with the 1 minute or the 2 minute, but I've been using the actual time frame of the setup that I'm trading, so a 30 minute, and it just removes some of the stress because, on a 1 minute can look a lot more scary, I guess, than, a 30 where you've got a lot of, candles in force. You got a lot of room here. I have a good idea of where my stop is relative to the candle that I'm trading on the higher time frame, and that has helped a little bit. I do need to change this style visibility, this to 29 minutes. So this is working. That's why I, was wanted to take another shot. Triggered, a little bit of corrective activity, re-trigger, boom. I actually got a better entry than my initial, not by much, but point or two. And now I'm back, basically break even. Looking for spots to add to this for the 60 to trigger up, and then hopefully the 4 hour. Template, let me change this to 4 hour. Get my other charts on TradingView hooked up. I'll mark the 60. Template 60. All right. Let me skim chat now that I'm gonna push this stop up a little bit here. Uh, EJ definitely tricky. Went long in the morning just to lose a little, and then eventually went short to catch a win. Hard to read the price action. You did well to walk away green today. Yeah, I mean last night that was the smart move. Today I, kind of messed up. Anybody who did walk away green and just shut it down or break even, you know, it's hard to look in hindsight and say, oh my God, the market dumped 800 points. I didn't get any of that, but it wasn't the easiest thing that, if you didn't catch it at the right time, it was kind of tricky. Like this afternoon, I finally managed to catch it at the right time, just being patient. I was eating lunch. I traded from my phone, which I don't usually do, but it was a combine, so definitely don't care about those as much. And I just jumped into 5 micros, and within 10 minutes, I'm gonna say I was at 1,500. I think it was down maybe 200 or 300, so it was like an $1,800 trade, and then that was it. I drove home and was like, yeah, that was sweet. Alex swung positive, negative twice. Finally locked out $20 green. Smart. French fish to 30K. I don't know what's the 30K. Hopefully my account balance. Hopefully I just catch a banger here, right? Like NQ just rips to all-time high tonight. That would be cool. EG, GG. Don't use the actionable signal in lower time frame when entering. Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing. That was the 30 minute. I could have. The first 5 minute was just an outside bar. Wasn't really a setup on that. There was no setup on the 15. So, 30 is the smaller time frame because I'm trading really the 60, the 4 hour. Those are the setups that I'm trading. I'm just trying to get in on the 30 minute. So for me, that is a smaller time frame. But, using the tick chart. Um, Boom, day $400 times three down. Nice job, options DGen. Alec entered on MES off that 1 minute red hammer, set up to break even. Perfect. NQ French Fish wants NQ 30K. Let's do it, man. I'm all about it. How do we make that happen? Let's start a prayer circle and ask Jesus to take the wheel. Probably would have liked to have added right here. I kind of wasn't paying attention, so it's not a big deal. I'll find another place to try and squeeze something in, maybe on the 60 trigger or the 4 hour, especially since I'd like to just kind of hold this position. So I'm gonna break even my stop and just kind of let this chill. Yes, options DJ Santa, the Easter Bunny. Let's one of them take the wheel. Somebody take the goddamn wheel. These are my favorite starts to Globex. When I see like a setup like this that I really really like on the 60 and 4 hour, and it trigger. I get a smaller time frame setup. I get an entry and it just works. It starts going. I have a break even stop. I made one attempt down $34, like no big deal. And yeah, now we just kind of chill, let the trade play out. Even got a 12-hour hammer. There's a lot of work to get up to 19,000, but if we get the 4 hour, there's a little pivot machine gun. It is inside day, but I care less about inside day on futures. We had an inside day earlier today, but it was what 1,500 points, 1464. So, but I believe that's probably why it was like a little choppy and tricky. Inside days are definitely harder to trade, but if there's enough range, it doesn't, I'm not too focused on the daily time frame as an intraday trader. French fish, how about you buy a lot of NQ and then I buy a lot of NQ and bam bam both rich. I like it. Why don't we just all deploy some capital here? Like 1, 2, 3 buy and then just launch it. I'd be okay with that. Kind of wish I'd taken this trade in this blue sky account, but it's a little tricky to. I don't want to be jump. I'm already live streaming. It's kind of might be a little distracting. Hopefully they add like cross-platform copy trading to Project X or cross prop firm. It's all the same platform. It's just labeled differently. Like you can see, this is Blue Sky. They just have a different color account, but it's basically the same interface. I just don't. My Top Step's a little more customized, but there are a number of prop firms now that are using Project X, and so if I could just trade them all from one kind of interface would be nice. But the great thing about not about having accounts across different prop firms, like if I DLL on these accounts, for example, when a trade sets up later, I can still trade. I'm not like done for the day. I get anxiety when I can't. If there's a trade setting up and I don't have an account that I can trade, it's not cool. I kind of just have to pretend like charts don't exist and the market is closed. And baiting, depending on where, if we pull back in like Backtest VWAP here. I'll probably add to this. I do want a decent sized position to hold this. I just need to find a good, it needs to make sense for me. Like it looks like we're gonna trigger the 60, but I don't want to just really smash the buy button. I'm trying not to do that. 5 minute 3-2 continuation. Let's see. Let me just zoom in here and fix my. Yeah, nothing on the 1530. I'll just wait for the 60. If the 60 triggers, I'll add there. Maybe it triggers and pulls back and then re-triggers. Or maybe we pull back, close enough to that. Was probably close enough to add, but see what we got on the 1 and 2 minute. You have a 5 minute failed two up, so a two up that is red, trying to break the low. Current 5 minute candles trying to break the low, but we'll see if they get anywhere with that. Probably a good place to add, honestly, but I think I'm just gonna hold off for a minute. Just got a 15-minute flip 50 seconds ago, so currently inside. Gonna give it a second. Inside 5, inside 15. Just gonna be patient. Whole lot of night left. Only 16 minutes into trading. Order filled. I am gonna add here. Just gonna keep my stop break even. Hope that this goes. Today I just realized that my account balances allow me to trade 50 micros, so if I want to get really kind of crazy, just add one or two here and there. Keep adding, add, get a sizable position with a stop in profit or break even and try and make my month. I want to give this a little bit of room here. I got a little too tight with my stop the other night and stopped out before the trade worked, so definitely want the 60 to trigger up as soon as possible here. It's really my rules are not to trade inside 60 or 4 hour, but we are close to, or we're on our way to going two up on the 60, so it's worth taking a shot. If we're like smack dab in the middle of the previous candle, it's a bit of a different story. Am I gonna get stopped out here? I think like how when I'm comfortable, how far I'm okay letting this come back. Just pulling back too much more. I almost added again, but I'm gonna wait. Sometimes these inside 60 and 4 hour can be a pain in the ass. Like the trades can work, but after they butcher you to death, I'm not trying to deal with that. Come on, start going up. Resume the trend. They want the 15 minute to go two up. Right now it's inside. The 5 minute did break that failed two up to the downside. So I don't want this to, kind of want it to chill where it's at. Some buyers to show up. Simple as that. 8.5 minutes till we get a new 15 candle, but we're near the lows of the current 15, so I'll have to see how this closes. Wouldn't be great if it closes inside and breaks to the downside. Would not be thrilled. I would stop out before that happens, but hopefully close. Just tagging me out. What happened to our prayer circle, guys? We're supposed to be sending this thing to the moon. Inside days, it's I got a whole bunch of chat to catch up on. I'm hyper focused on this trade because I'm super close to getting tagged out. Like the 30 will still be enforced, but we only have 7 minutes 20 seconds. So like normally I would probably have my stop a little bit wider because I wouldn't want it to come down, test this trigger, and then resume to the upside. Like that's where I would kind of want to get in if I missed the initial entry. So why would I want to get out earlier? But we're up against the clock here. Uh, Options, as Jim points out, we can't all just deploy capital because we're on sim. Valid point. Way to ruin the party. Can't you access it through Trading View? Access what? Oh, stopped out. They'll never do that because it's not Top Step software. It's Project X. Top Step licenses it. There are like 10 prop firms that use Project X. Give me a sec. I'll resume chat in a minute. I'm kind of keeping an eye on if this pulls back any further, if it looks like buyers are going to start showing up here. I'm watching the 5 minute to see where this, we got 1 minute left until the 5 closes. So maybe enter on a break of the 5er high with the 30 in force. Maybe. Got the 30, 60, 4-hour green. Hmm. 20 seconds till we get a new fiber. I'll decide what I'm going to do here if this breaks the high. I'm in my eyeball. New fiber trying to break the previous candle low. Not really what I want to see as a buyer. Definitely want to see it break the high. Inside 515, 60, 4-hour, 12-hour day. A lot of inside bars. So it could be tricky. Thirty-minute flip in 3 minutes. Bar still at the low of the 15-minute candle, which is inside bar. So like I mentioned earlier, would not want to see that inside bar break bear. Then we could potentially flip the hour red and trigger the inside hour down. Hopefully this 5 minute doesn't get really going anywhere because a little late. Little late, Tom. Not a great entry there. That's the 5 minute candle went outside bar. My entry is like six. This is where I wanted to get in on this line that I drew on the 5 minute, the 5 minute high. So, but yeah, it's, it is what it is. Can't always nail them perfectly. When I move these charts around like a weirdo, I'm just sometimes this VWAP line is off, and so I want to make sure I have the right spot for it on these charts. Just gives me general kind of sentiment. Below it, it's typically bearish. Above it's bullish, but focused on strat setups always. But just an extra kind of guideline area to pay attention to. Wouldn't be as not really stressed about it, but wouldn't even be batting an eye at this if I was in at 525 where I wanted to be. Just a little extra risk, but still well within like what I'm okay stopping out with. Kind of annoying. All right, new 15er. Again, not a great entry, but it's like if had I gotten in where I wanted to, my stop, this wouldn't have stopped me out. But meh. Trying to break the 15 inside bar bull. Sometimes you got to do battle. Like if I just stopped out, I know some people messaged me and I'm like, "Did you catch that trade?" And they're like, "Oh, I stopped out." I'm like, "Okay, and you just what gave up?" That's crazy to me. I get it. Like after maybe 3 attempts, you try again, make a third attempt. After that, you might want to dial it back or just say, "Okay, it's not working." I wanted more contracts. Probably need to use a little bit wider. Probably needs to go with like 20 points during this volatility that we have. Usually I can get away with like 5 or 10 points. So 15 is a little uncomfortable for me with like 3, 4, 5, 6 micros. But I do, it is, things are just moving much more than they ordinarily do. Like New York, I can usually do like 20 points. 30 points would be kind of wide. I've been doing like 40, 50 points, which is kind of crazy, but that was a good ad. Get a new 5 minute candle in 2 minutes. Got a new 30-60 in just under 30 minutes, 26, 27 minutes. So we got time for this 60, this candle to trigger to the upside and have enough time for it to head towards target. Well, we'll see. Little choppity chop here for a minute. Where's that line at? That's 15.
Order filled.
Really need the 15 to go back in force here. Break the 60 inside bar. I feel like it's gonna happen. It just depends on how we get there. Sometimes on the road to triggering can be a little, you can get whiplash. 15's back in force. That's a good sign. Like needs to go now. If I like if this doesn't work, then I'm gonna want to stop out. Just want this shit to go. One NQ, don't be difficult. Just do what we want. I'm gonna get stopped out again because I tightened my stop too much. I do want it to go though.
Order filled.
Ugh. I just put my stop too tight. I just said I was gonna use 15, 20 points. I think that was I need to kind of just stick with that. 1 minute little hammer candle triggered up. Yeah, that's irritating that I did that twice in a row. If this works. Yeah, that's just shitty execution on my part. A little too aggressive with the stops, which I've noticed for me can be an issue. If I have any kind of red, my brain is not just doesn't want to accept more risk. But we can't. You're not going to be able to make successful trades if you're not willing to accept some amount of risk. You just have to, and it's got to be enough risk where the trade can actually work. I'm not going to chase this. See what happens next up near the 60. Got to flip in just under 22 minutes. I got to be a little less risk averse. See what happens on this 60. Yeah, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm not out here trying to impress anyone or claim that I'm the best trader in the world. I practice doing my thing. I try and improve a little bit every day. Make adjustments. Learn lessons. Gonna make mistakes. The goal is to just eliminate as many stupid mistakes or simple mistakes that are easily avoidable as possible. And that's all I've done for the last few years. So I still get annoyed with myself and make poor decisions sometimes. It's the last time I'm gonna try this. 60s in force. I'm gonna leave a wider stop, and I'm gonna add if this pulls back. This pulls back and re-triggered. This is has done this twice now. Trigger, pull back, re-trigger, trigger, probably pull back, re-trigger. Just sucks because I have a much shittier entry than I would have if I had just stuck with the original kind of position. But got to take the trade, right? Inside 60 to trigger the 4 hour, still domino trade, still my number one favorite setup. There's like very little wick on the hourly candle, so we pretty much opened and have gone straight up. So we got green continuity. Got to trust the higher time frames. I know I'm been trying to drill that into my head. Just trust the 4 hour, trust the 12 hour. When they're moving in a certain direction and they trigger a setup, they usually are moving towards their target, and you've got a lot of time for them to do that. So I can't be stressing out about 10 or 20 points on a or 10, 15 points on a tick chart when I'm looking at much higher time frames. Like, and at this point, this would have been like my probably third ad. So if I had added, one here, which I said I was going to do when I started, I would add on the 60, which that was the 60, but I wasn't in a position. Gotta stop pussyfooting around. Add on what I know works, and if it doesn't work, then that's how it goes. Like, gonna trust that the hour is gonna keep pushing up, trigger the 4 hour, get the little pivot machine gun going, potentially trigger the 12 hour, back to the highs. Uh, Since we made inside day on NQ, train of thought if current price reaches the bottom of the previous day, 312 versus if price reaches the top of previous day. Uh, I mean, if it reaches the bottom of the day, it's going to be bearish. If we break the top, it's going to be uber bullish. That's where the quarterly and monthly open are on the daily chart. Right, you got right up here that red line, quarterly, monthly open. So yeah, we'll have full time frame continuity to the upside if we break the high. There's a lot of work for that to happen. Same thing breaking bear. I mean, we open smack dab in the middle of this inside candle. So I'm just kind of tuning out. I'm aware it's an inside day. It could be choppy, but right now things are bullish. So I'm gonna stay a bull until proven otherwise. Till there's some very clear evidence of buyers, or our sellers showing up. With futures, there's no Greeks, and you trade from level to level. Yeah, I mean, I trade the same way. Crypto, futures, stocks. I trade them all the same way using strat concepts. And then like I have, I'm experimenting with VWAP. That's pretty much it. We're just trading the strat combo sheet in the direction of continuity and looking for broadening formations, kind of areas where things may reverse, and you get a really, really good entry. Full port. French wants me to go full port. I'm just gonna not. I'm gonna trade more like I trade a con. I'm gonna. There's a balance between the way that I've been trading XFAs. Yes, it has worked, but I feel like I've been a little too cautious. Which I don't know if there is such a thing though in trade. It's better to be overly cautious, but you're not gonna make money that way. Like you do have to accept a certain amount of risk and get scale into positions. I mean, that's what I do. I scale into winners. So I was in a winning position. I could have added. We never got below the 30. Um, this line right here that I had marked to the 30. This was the 30-minute trigger. We pulled back, but held the trigger. It's just the reason I wasn't super confident is because we were running out of time. That we had a flip in like 7 minutes at the time, but it did hold. We set up there's a little setup on the 15-minute inside bar. We didn't pull back far from that. Would have been a good add. Then add on the 60. You know, maybe instead of one contract, do two. My old starter, if you guys watch my streams from like a month ago, I would trade 3 micros at a time, but wasn't trading well, and I'm like, well, this is stupid. If I'm losing money, I'd rather lose with 1 micro. I'm not gonna make as much, but once I start trading well, then I'll scale up, and I've been trading really well. Like this was good for. I mean, how many points is this already? 88 points. I mean, that's like done for the day. Options degen style. Did get a push up, but pulled back, still above the trigger on the 60. Do have a flip though in 13 minutes, so kind of the same issue as before with running out of time. But I think we'll probably and it'll end up be like a 4 bar play where we're just gonna get continuation up. But I could be wrong. Debating adding here or waiting if it pulls back a little bit. He failed 2 up on the 15. So on the 15-minute, the candle broke the previous candle high, but is now red. So we called those failed 2 ups. They are great places to look for reversals. So I don't want to be, like aggressively adding somewhere where I would be eyeballing a potential short. We'll see what happens here. I don't really just want to add right here with this failed 2 up on the 15. I want to see this retrigger. I don't feel like digging myself out of a bigger hole than like 200 to start. Like if I get down to 300, I only have $200 daily loss left. Things start to get a little stressful. 200, I can manage. Especially after being in a trade that worked and stopping out for really not great reasons. Just makes it that much more annoying. But this is the game we play. It's tricky. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. For me, trading is all about understanding myself and my brain and how I think and following rules. Like that's what it comes down to. I've always struggled with following rules and just not being a like do it your own way kind of person. But with trading, I really have to be strict about the way that I approach this. Otherwise, the gambler in me comes out and we do dumb stuff. So if you can relate to that, you're not alone. So I try and keep that person away from the mouse and, logic based Tom here most of the time. I think I'm going to chill. Got a flip in 9. We'll see what happens after the flip. But I stuck to my plan, right? I said I didn't want to add because of the failed 2 up on the 15 where I would kind of be looking for a short to stop out, whatever. Probably gonna take some notes, or I'm gonna clip part of this. I'm trying to keep a just a trade journal. I suck at actually writing things down consistently, but I can take screenshots and record videos or take clips of videos and throw them in a folder and go back and watch and review how I could have done that better because that should have been a solid win and like done. Like yeah, the 60 didn't it triggered and didn't keep going, but again that was like 88 points from the initial starter. I got in a little above the 30, and then I think I nailed like the second time was right at that line. But I'm gonna go back and watch because I definitely feel like I fumbled that one. Came back here and right 2 VWAP. We will see if that holds. But yeah, I mean, we got to flip in 8 minutes. So let me check chat. Buford's finally, I'm not at work and can listen. Aren't you lucky? I need to learn to trade after hours futures. I want to be you when I grow up. I don't know that I suggest it. If you like living like a vampire with very little sleep and on a bizarre schedule. But thanks for being here. Be much cooler if I had just crushed that trade, but was not meant to be. T. Rosal, equities futures traded at a premium or discount. Premium or discount slowly work its way into. Okay. Answering Ant. Do I look for setups on the 15? Pretty much every time frame, but the 60, the 4 hour, the 12 hour, the day are my go-to, and then I look for setups on the 5, the 15, the 30 to get in. My whole plan for tonight was to take the inside, well, the 15, was it a 15? The 30 minute wasn't like a it wasn't, I mean, it was like hammer-esque. This kind of candle right here, right? This candle. It's not quite a hammer, it needs to, ordinarily, I think we want it to close like in the top third. So something like if the candle was actually here, we didn't have this lower kind of portion. But whatever, it's hammering. Same concept, right? Bears tried, they broke the previous candle low, didn't go anywhere. Buyers stepped up. We close up at the highs. We break this to the upside. I was looking for the 30. to then trigger the 60, which I think is this, to then trigger the 4 hour is up here at 674. So this candle high. So a domino trade, right? 30, this 30-minute setup triggers a 60-minute setup, potentially triggers a 4 hour setup. That potentially triggers a 12-hour setup if buyers really want to get aggressive. So, yeah, I mean, we use every time, it's multiple time frame analysis, using every time frame, looking for the best way to maximize the returns and to minimize the risk. So, tight stops, looking for higher time frame setups to hit magnitude is the gist of it. Alex says, I don't think we were allowed. Yeah, you got it's definitely your fault. I had no backup. My prayer circle. Either that or Jesus didn't take the wheel. I'm not sure. I don't know if I asked, but maybe that's what happened. That was a Tom issue all day. I'm gonna go back and watch that video, and maybe I'll do like a review. I'll watch that video back, and then next time we stream on Sunday or something, I'll critique my execution or explain what I think how I could have done it differently. Might be a fun exercise. But I'm still look. I mean, bigger picture. I'm looking for the hour to break the previous. We're gonna get a flip in 4 minutes here, so it's probably just gonna end up being what I consider like a 4 bar play, where I should record a clip. Oh, that's a good idea for content. Record a video of this. It's where we get a strat setup, right? We had a strat setup, right? 2, 1, 2. Hoping this broke up and took out this high right here. But what I call a 4 bar play is where this candle doesn't take out its target, but we get another candle that comes in here, breaks this candle's high, and then gets up to this target. You'll see them all the time. It's just a strat out of it that takes an extra candle to work. They can be compound outside bars. There's all kinds of candle blending tricks that you can use to kind of look at things in a different way, just the same way that we are looking at multiple time frames. Sometimes you'll see Alex pull up like a 2-day chart or a 2-week chart, or other traders who are trading the strat. Right? We're just looking for a different view of the same data that makes sense for us. Like I can often look at a chart and be like, oh, that's a double inside day by looking at like the hourly chart. That's the longer you do this, the better you become at recognizing these little details. If you're a detail person, which I am. So if you're a detail oriented kind of guy, you've got a leg up, in my opinion, on being successful as a trader, because you really got to be paying attention to a number of different things, and then managing yourself, controlling yourself, being disciplined, being patient, tuning out the noise, not letting self doubt creep in, or negative self talk, shitty thinking. Recovery, they would always call that stinking thinking. They had all kinds of little catchphrases, but the funny thing is they stuck in your head and would occasionally work. Let's see. Options degens on the naughty list. That does not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. Tony, you threw the Asus in there. French Fist Top Step made Top Step made Project S, and they licensed it to other firms. I don't believe so. That was what I originally thought. Project X is actually SIMDA funded. It's a group of developers who, I don't know if they're traders or what. I actually reached out to them. I had some development related questions. I filled out their form, and then I just didn't follow up. And I never heard from somebody, but yeah, I thought that it was Top Steps, or that Top Step is probably, is I believe, their first major use case. Like they were the first company to deploy it, so I think they have some say. But I would almost guarantee that Top Step pays some kind of licensing fee to SIMDA funded, which is Project X. There may be some kind of partnership there or something, but Project X is obviously allowed to license to other companies. If it was just exclusively Top Steps, I don't think they'd be able to do that, right? Why would Top Step license a platform to other props? Maybe it would make business sense, but Michael doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would want to share that sort of stuff. NQ pulling back a good bit here, trying to go outside 15er. Flip in 20 seconds. Uh, you entered on the 30. Yes. If you go back and watch this video on YouTube, or if you're here on Sunday, that's going to be my homework assignment, is to clip that video and into a little journal entry. So hold me to it. There's the flip. So 15-minute, didn't go outside bar, went compound outside, which is just a 2-2 reversal. And this is looking like it could be a good short. Actually, 30-minute shooter, break into the downside. 60-minute, not perfect shooter, but shooter-ish candle with a rev strat. So you can see this triggered. Shooter candle, break bear. Gonna be targeting down here. Would flip the day red potentially. Still a little early to speculate on that, but here's the 60. And if this candle comes down here, flips the day, and breaks this candle low, you have a 1, 2, 2, which is a rev strat. Inside bar, directional candle, and we would kind of target somewhere down here. We'll see if that's what they want to do. Because again, continuity, bigger picture continuity is to the downside. Year's red, quarter's red, month is red. The week is the only thing that's green. So if the 60 and day are red, we've got most of the time frames are red. So we don't want to be just staying too bullish. I really wish I had taken this short, to be honest with you. It happened really quick though on the flip. It was a good I wish I had like kind of caught that before I I wish was focusing on the charts instead of chat. No offense, guys, but like I was just distracted. It's also easy to say in hindsight, but it is a good short setup. I'm telling you, the failed 2-ups on the 15 have been amazing as starting to look for potential weakness after, I'm looking for bulls to continue. And if buyers can't keep pushing this up, right, we're going to have new shorts kind of jumping in. And this 15 just failed, went red, and then went compound outside bar. So these two bars are an outside bar of this. We got a little mini broadening formation there. Trigger the 30 shooter. I mean, it opened and sold from 527. 527 right up in here on this tick chart. I gotta remark my man, I feel like I'm a bit off today. Remark my charts. Like there's the 30, that's also the 60. I don't leave that. It bothers me. Here's a 30-60. Here's the 60. Oops, that's the 30 target. Right? No, that's actually down here. Bear with me a sec. I gotta get my Till they have an indicator, custom indicators, I have to do this, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Not gonna lie, it's starting to get tired of it, but I need it to be able to trade, to know where we're at. That was the high, right? There's the 30. That was a 30 low. 15, 30, 60, 60. I think that's good. Yeah, it's a little irritating. I mean, that's why I also use TradingView. I have in the indicators, but I like to see them where I'm executing trades as well. Trying to push back up towards a 30 trigger. And this is what this last night when I was in a short like this, it just took forever to really get going. I mean, once it did, it was, ended up the whole, for the whole overnight session into New York, there was a lot of selling, but it just was so slow to die, and it drives me a little crazy. I do struggle with impatience, and I'm just like sitting here, sitting here. Finally, just got up and walked away, and then it kind of took off. Oh, this is the 30. This is the trigger. This is the shooter trigger that we're at currently. I think I mislabeled something here. Yeah, I don't care about the 60 high. This is fine. It's just looking a little confusing. This is the shooter trigger. So broke to the downside, didn't quite get to target, didn't flip the day, didn't make new low a day, but this may be another entry opportunity. I'm just debating if I want to be on Team Bull or Team Bear. And I think it's really hard to tell with it inside 60, inside 4 hour. And this is why I wrote down a rule not to mess with them. Because what happens is the long didn't work initially, right? Stopped and reversed. And now the short is not getting any follow through. Because for me, the 60 and the 4 hour have no direction yet. They're green, but that's it. We're stuck inside the previous candle range. And the 4 hour for me is what the 60 and the 4 hour are like my, that's what I'm paying attention to intraday. Those are my favorite. If you said you can only have these, time frames, it would probably be the 60 and the 4 hour or the 4 hour and the 12 hour, depending on how I wanted to trade. And then looking for setups on every time frame. I want to see what the week's doing. So on Sunday night, if the week breaks, the higher the low, I want to know about that. That's an entry for, now it might not hit its target all week, but it gives me context about what direction to be looking. So always, using higher time frames for setups, smaller time frames for entries. Yeah, the more I look at this, it's just I'm not going to click any buttons until I have more evidence of who's in control on the 60 and the 4 hour. It just has to be that way. Like I'm gonna miss stuff. The good trade was the first trade to take. Maybe the short, if you had taken it from the failed 15 was probably a better, was a much better entry. It ends up being the top of the little broadening formation, but we can't catch them all. I just fumbled the initial trade, and then I get this feeling of I need to make up for it. I need to, not miss anything else. And the truth is, if you're patient, something else will show up, and you'll be like, "Oh, no big deal. I'll take this. This is great." When I start flip flopping, like I did say I was trying to decide whether I wanted to be on Team Bull or Bear, but until I make that decision, I have no business clicking buttons. One thing that is if you find yourself doing this, you need to recognize it is not you're not in a good place. You probably shouldn't be taking any trades. If you are hitting like the reverse button or flip flopping between long and short, you need to like take your finger off the trigger and just sit there for a minute until you have more information. I start flip flopping. I just take paper cut after paper cut after paper cut. The market has no direction, and then I'm pissed because I hit DLL on some nonsense. I didn't even get, I didn't even take a real great setup. I just got into like some subpar shitty setup, and now now I'm sidelined when the real action happens or when the easy stuff when the market's on easy mode. Let me skim through chat here. I thought I was at the bottom of the list, and I'm like, oh shit, that's from a bit ago. Very nice trade. Options, and tight stops. Tony says tight stops can be a painful thing to overcome. You're on that same boat, but learning to be more forgiving if the models there aren't working. Yeah, I mean, it's you. Again, it's for me. It's based on how much risk I'm willing to accept. I have to recognize that it's going to take a certain amount of risk if I want a certain amount of contracts, and maybe I just have to be more selective about my trades. I can't take four, five, six trades like I do sometimes. Maybe I just need to be focused on, you know, three trades, three good attempts, and sticking with them and not doing the flip floppy thing. Or this is why I like VWAP on my chart real quick. By the way, let me make sure that's actually where it's at. Pretty sure it is because it's on my trading view as well. Reset chart. So there's no strat. I mean, we did pull back to this trigger, but there was no real strat target for where this move right here, right, might end up. And it just perfect tap and then reversal. So I've been using this to look for zones. There's a perfect uh, tap of VWAP on the uh, 4 hour time frame, I think, last night. Had two beautiful pullbacks, and if you had just shorted at the VWAP in the direction of time frame continuity, you would have had huge winners. So just gives me like an area to if we're kind of in no man's land, and I'm like, hey, this is starting to look like it's gonna reverse back down. So triggered, pulled back, right? Triggered the 30, pulled back, re-triggered, and now we are looking like we're gonna make a new low and flip daily continuity. And that happened, right here at the rejection of this line. So very similar to the trade I took last night on the 4 hour. It pulled all the way back to the trigger after moving like 40 or 50 points, and I was sitting there like, should I have just taken the cash and like ran? It ended up being the best place to like add to the position because it pulled back, to the entry, same exact thing. Pull back like to the 4 hour trigger, almost hit it perfectly. It was like at a VWAP level, and then just dumped. And I went from up 40 points to basically up like maybe $50 to up 100 points, which was the $610 on three micros. Now we are triggering the 60 down. So the rev strat to the downside now in force. And we've got direction now on the 60, right? 60 is no longer inside bar. 4 hour is, so that's also, it can be a danger zone for me. Even if the 4 hours inside, I like the 4 hour to not be inside, ideally. So that's why I'm not too, um, I'm not like feeling FOMO about missing this trade. I'm just making a mental note. Okay, it broke. There was some corrective activity because this was I mean, for this time of day, we sold down 117 points, right? That's a lot. It also falls into my made up 100 point rule that at like 80 to 120 points on a NASDAQ move, sometimes it hits like 97. Just be aware of potential exhaustion at those levels. I see it more times than not. Just again, it's something that I've noticed over and over. Is it 100% reliable? No, nothing in trading is. But is it helpful? If you're trying to be a bull and we've already moved like 100 points, and I know that's an area where it can, pull back. So down 100 and whatever it was. Oh shit, that's not accidentally hit the wrong button. Um, we had corrective activity of 55 points, and then re-triggered this. But I'm not, I wasn't I'm not sweating it because we were still inside 60 at the time. I'm just making a mental note that hey, you took this trade last night. It worked. Thinking about what just played out compared to what I've seen before, and then making being more focused on taking those kind of trades. Just trusting that they're going to work regardless of whether I'm red or not. Becomes a bit of a mental block. Like for me, it's a solid win as long as I like stuck to some kind of plan, followed a plan, and I feel like I didn't do that very good initially. As long as we're following rules, whether it's a win or a loss, it's a win. It just that's the way it has to be because I think my win rate's like 38% or something. I mean, I'm often wrong. I stop out, but when I finally get the move, it's usually something like this. That's what I got last night. It didn't happen this fast. It was driving me a bit crazy. This would have been a nice one to catch because it happened pretty quickly. In the first, I mean, 16 minutes, it triggered, pulled back, re-triggered, and hit target in 16 minutes for 80 plus points or whatever. Where are we at right now? 89 points. That's a sweet little trade if you call it that. I don't know if anybody did. We were a little late to the party on that. I didn't even have my charts marked up or anything. I don't know why. Maybe I was just yapping too much. I think I need an egg timer for right before the flip. There are times where I've been sidetracked and like then I realized we had a flip like 15 seconds ago. I can't do that. That's not good time chart management. Options degen, I'm the opposite. I'm not risk averse enough. I think degen, yeah, me too. I'm just tired of getting my ass kicked. But I trade really well in combines. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I'm very similar to you. We probably trade a lot in the same way. I've dialed it back a ton in XFAs because I don't have I just don't want to keep blowing up accounts. I need to extract money from them. And it's actually helped me because I'm not just as willing to like bust out another card and like feed money into the machine. Like you got to be pulling money out of the machine, not putting more in. That's not how it works. So yeah, I've done well because I'm usually looking for 80 or 100 points, right? So on three micros, $600 for me is a good day. I don't need to copy trading two accounts, $1,200. It's over 30 grand a month, 25,000. Wait, is my math right? 1,200 a day. Yeah, 25 trading days. Wait, is it 20? 20, 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, like 20, 25K. If I can't make that work. And then when I crushed the $2,000 trade or whatever, great. Like I was up, I had the banger. I was up 2 grand, stopped out break even, and like immediately jumped back in, and then ended the day up 1,600 in two accounts. That was like me prime time trading, and not like hesitating. Let's see. What we got going on here? Sorry, guys. Opposite, blend of both, uh, aggressive, but after some consecutive winning days, I become more averse, and it ends up screwing me. Yeah, I've been there, dude. Alex, sometimes I'm too fearful to go with size, and it really holds me back on my winners. Yeah, I mean the good thing about trading, it's like we all know it's scalable, right? So if you do it once, it's consistency is the most important part. Me stacking, that's what I focused on this time. That's why I've got solid, you know, a number of winning days. This account, I had 3 losing days, but my primary Globex account, I'm down today currently, but I've only had one red day, and it's just focusing on consistency. I put up 1750, 700, 750. 300 had a red day, 600, 228, 1600, right? So these are like kind of triples, maybe a home run, right? 15, $1,600, 600. So averaging maybe like five, whatever, $600 or so with an occasional like, smash it, copy trading. Like how much, I mean, do I really need to get that much more aggressive? Like if it's working now, don't kind of fiddle with it. But yeah, I mean, I want to be trading. Today I was like, oh shit, all your accounts are off the scaling plan. You can trade 5 minis if you want to. Like that part of my brain is still alive and well, I can assure you. I'm just trying to keep it under wraps. And it's like, ooh, let's take these accounts from like 4 grand to like let's double everything tonight and take a payout going into the weekend. And that's not the right way to think about it. That's what gets me in trouble. Tony said no judgment. We're here to build each other up. Yeah, I agree. It's super helpful to have people to talk to. Options DJ wants 594. 594. 5. Are you looking for upside? Or were? It's probably some minutes ago. I'm a little bit behind. 643. Great. Thanks for replying on 312 and 31. The 312 scenarios sometimes get confused given continuity. Yeah, I mean, I like to play in the direction of the day for the most part. Options DGen is done. Always impressed. Nice P&L. He's on fire over there. Maxed out Apex PA. Those Gex monies or Gex levels. I gotta put them on my chart because that was the failed 2 up on the 15er, right? Is that where you got in? If you got in at that Gex level, the 15 went red somewhere around that 590 or whatever. I gotta put them on my charts, man. I gotta make a note of that. Frankie G says trigger trigger. Exactly, follow your rules, limit yourself, and be fair to yourself. That's it, man. We gotta treat ourselves like we would talk to a friend who's like, if you're making, you have a red day trading, and some you're talking to like your trading buddy, you're gonna be like, what an idiot, you're stupid. You're gonna be like, no, bro, what can you, what'd you do? How can you fix it? What'd you learn from it? But we beat the shit out of ourselves over, just it's over like just mistakes that are gonna happen. I've just gotten a little bit better at not trying not to do that. Like one trade is not gonna should never make or break me if I don't let it. It's not gonna blow up the whole account over it. Like if I just stop my day here and said, okay, minus 237, can I just be okay with that? Definitely. If I gotta walk away and it's I gotta go into the weekend down 700. The way to do that is just be selective with the next trade that I take. We still got it inside 4 hours setting up. I can later on take a shot at that. but not be too, you know, just kind of slow it down. Ta-da. I didn't have Trump say bye bye. Yeah, we got no Trump tweet. Attention to detail drives everything we do. Yes, sir. Ignore chat. Yeah, you guys make it keep it interesting. I just need to like I can't be slipping on not having my charts. Usually I'll mark my charts like a minute before the flip, right? Because the only thing that can potentially change is the high and low, and when it closes, I'll just adjust them. Damn, this is nice for whoever has been holding this to the downside. That's the 60 getting follow through. So it did hit target. Little pause, sideways consolidation. Now we've got daily and 60 continuity to the downside, along with the month, the quarter, and the year. Just green on the week. This is so similar to how last night played out. It's happening a little bit faster. Right, we closed up at the highs, and then Globex, you know, yesterday opened, consolidated sideways, and then started to sell off and dumped into New York. And that's same thing. Started with a 4-hour inside bar, which is what we have now. Well, what am I gonna do? You know, I feel like if I was gonna trade it, I should have got in on the failed 15, which is the Gex. You know, it was basically the Gex level that Degen shared. So little clues, right? If there's a Gex level, which is gamma expiration, where market, you know, dealers are like positioned and they're dealers have to like you can just Google it. It's gamma exposure. You can chat GPT it, and if you're curious, and you can see why people pay attention to those levels. So you know, I see a strat reversal happening at like VWAP or at a Gex level. Like those are just little extra tools that may or may not help me. But he showed me them before, and they always work well. So you guys might want to explore that a bit. Uh, Thanks for talking out the trade. Understood what you were speaking about. I like the strap of this domino is what I've been trying to understand. Yeah, it's just you know like I explained, right? We had the 15-minute failed two up, right? Failed two up. This candle goes red. Start to look short. You can go back and listen to the stream. That's what I said. I don't want to be adding to a position where I would be eyeballing a short, and that's a failed two up on the 15er. It's a nice little clue that things are may move in the other direction. What did that do? On the 30-minute, that triggered this shooter candle down, targeting here. What did that do? On the 60-minute, we had a rev strat, an inside bar, a shooter candle, and we broke the low. Might have even drawn this one out. Where I said, I think when I first started streaming, we said we could end up like, you know, down in, whoops, like down here, down here, down here. This is a kind of aggressive target, but we're definitely most likely going to take this out and then somewhere in the middle. I don't know where. I'd have to zoom in on a different time frame. So yeah, that's a 15-minute into a 30-minute into a 60-minute, potentially into the 4-hour inside bar down. Here's the 4-hour. Here's the inside bar. If this keeps selling and we break this candle low, the inside bar, we are probably going to come down here. So from the 15-minute, and you got a stop on the 15-minute that is maybe at the high, right? This candle goes red, you put your stop at the high. If this works, you're going to trigger a much higher time frame, and your stop could be tight as hell. You'd be risking 20 points if that measuring tool is right. From the wick, like to the body there, 18.25 points to make 200 points. That's a 1 to 10 RR. That's how we get tight stops and try and let bigger trades play out. Domino setups. That's what you want to be looking for as a stratter, in my opinion. So when people ask what time frame do you use, all of them. Yeah, super helpful to hear your thoughts. Really appreciate you doing this. And yeah, I struggle with the domino too. I feel like whenever I try to take them, we just go back inside. So I'm trying to work on it. Definitely bigger moves when they happen. Yeah, I mean, you got to pay attention to the 16 the 4 hour. Avoid the inside bars on the smaller time frames, and just like I explained, run through it. If this happens, what can that set up on a higher time frame? So like the main setup was like the 60 rev strat or the 4 hour inside bar break. How do we get into that early? We zoom in. What's on the 30? A shooter, etc., etc. Smaller and smaller and smaller until you get to the 5 minute or 1 minute if you're a little nutty. No offense to anybody who's strat trading on the 1 minute, but it's a little crazy. Really trying not to think about the money, Alex says. I guess it never goes away. Trying hard not to do stupid things. Had to lock out New York. That was a wise decision. I struggle with locking myself out. Options degen an hour ago. What were we talking about? Oh, when he posted the setup. Okay. I should have been paying. See, should have been paying attention to chat. Would have got the heads up. Yep, reversed right at that level. It's been in the funded chat channel. That was a 594. Yeah, beautiful. Like mix that with me seeing looking for a short on the failed 15 with a Gex level above it. It's like you can't get a better entry than that. All right, guys. I mean, that's it. That's I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna keep an eye on the 4 hour. The next trade, I mean, that was like, we had two really good trades. A pretty decent trade to the upside that was 88 points that I caught none of, and then a domino trade to the downside that I just missed, but options degen was able to catch a piece of it. Hopefully somebody else got it, but yeah. So that's what I look for, and wait for those. They don't happen constantly, but the more time frames you have that paint a picture for you, the higher, the more you're going to be able to squeeze out of your trades. So you enter initial on the 15, you add on the 30, you add on the 60, you add on the 4 hour, and now you've got a huge position when it hits the 4 hour target. Hopefully. You can add as much or as little as you want in there. What other tips and tricks would I suggest? That's like how that's the way that I've digested the strat over the last couple years, and what I've really been focused on lately that's been working. There's a reason Sarah trades the dominoes. She's been trading the strat way longer than me. Her go-to weekly list are usually daily setups triggering weekly setups. So good enough for her, good enough for me. Yeah, that's it. I'm not even feeling that bad about missing it. Like, do I wish I had caught those trades? I really do, but I'm not. I don't even feel any kind of way about it right this second. Like my brain is really just like, all right, let's just wait for the next best opportunity, and make a comeback. Gonna hop off if you guys get bored and want to chat. Funded chat is always a friendly space for any futures traders or funded traders. Hang out with us. It's a good time. And I will catch you guys later. Have a great weekend. It is Friday, right? We're not just Thursday, I mean. This is Friday's price action, so Have a great weekend. See you next week.